PR Connections Radio presents. This show is brought to you by Paid Per Letter. Write letters and make a difference. paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan.
Hi, my name is Penny Tindall, and I am the new host for the podcast called The Professionals. We will be broadcasting this podcast live every first and third Wednesday of the month at 10:15 a.m. Tune in and learn about local businesses and their innovative minds behind them. Each episode, we will journey through the unique stories of our neighborhood entrepreneurs and nonprofits and uncover the passion, the challenges, and the triumphs that drive our local economy. Join us as we explore how dedicated individuals are crafting not only vibrant enterprises, but also are more connected to our local Las Vegas and Henderson community. Stay tuned. I'll see you soon. Penny Tindall. Hello and welcome to the show, The Professionals. I film this every first and third Wednesday of the month at 10:15 a.m. It's funny to see yourself recorded. But anyway, I do have a guest today. My guest is Joe Caldera. He is with Caldera Wealth and Management. And he has been doing his services since 1998 here in Las Vegas. Can we say hello to Joe?
Oh, hello. How are you? It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Yes, I would love for you to, first, I'm going to say that we are lucky because you are lucky seven. You are only seven people, I think you said, in the world that have all these wonderful credentials. So you are in good hands with Joe and his team with Caldera Wealth. So tell me about that. You obviously have a passion for educating and getting individuals and businesses in the right track. So give us a little history of how you started and your passions for getting businesses and family peace of mind.
Well, I thought my path was the FBI, and I learned this rule of 72, which is the rate money doubles. And I was fascinated by this concept where if you got a 7.2% return on your money would double every decade. And then if you got a 10% return on your money would double every 7.2 years. And I just thought, that was the best kept secret. The power of compounding is something that we weren't taught in school. And so I did make a curve to make a commitment to go into the financial planning world, which I had no idea all what that meant and what it existed. And over the course of years, I just became a student of the whole process of financial planning and learning about the financial psychology and about, the importance of retirement in some future date, because the power of compounding can really have an impact, a positive impact when you start early. And so that's sort of a passion of mine for the last 26 years or so.
I love that you say start early because, being a first generation American, my parents went and made me walk to the bank and put money in every week because we owned a diner. And they would always say, you have to save, you have to invest in your future. And, I want to say I was only 10 years old when I first had my first savings account, and I would get paid by $2 bills. And so I went to show my friend that I had, I think $500 in $2 bills. So I went to the bank, I walked there, we didn't have Uber, anything like that. And I went to the teller, she knew me, I was there every week. And I said, hey, my friend here, Julie, my best friend, I'm trying to tell her how important it is to put her money in the bank and to save money. So I'd like to see my $500. And so she pulled out $500 bill, five $100 bills. And I said, no, no, no. I want to see all the $2 bills because I was getting paid by $2 bills, right? And she's like, oh, no, no, Penny, we don't keep your $2 bills. And I was like, what? But it was important for me to still see, the cash that was saved. And I feel like the young people really, since they're not learning about accounting, they don't have checkbook training like we did in middle school and high school, the money just comes out of thin air, right? They just tap it, they slide it, and they don't realize the tangible money. So, what would you say to, a younger person, somebody going to college, getting ready out of high school? Why is it important for them to, kind of have financial goals as a young person?
Well, thank you for the question. I personally believe that everybody needs a financial advocate. And so whether you have 100 million in the bank or you have $100,000 of debt, you need a financial advocate. And it's, and so even though the young folks, every person, if we look back in our stages of life, we have sort of these seasons, right? From 20 to 30, there's a season where we're maybe going to school, we're building up maybe student loan debt, and we might be buying a house at that time. We have a car. So we're in debt. And in our 30s and 40s, we're working off that student loan debt, or, we're starting a family perhaps, and kids are very expensive. And so what it comes down to, and I've been doing this, like I said, for a long time, I've come down to these 5 things that people, regardless of where you're at, what stages you're at, if you're doing these 5 things, you are on your path to financial goodness, let's just call it. And so and we have strategies. And so they're all, I'm gonna release the 5 things in a moment, but I want you to think that these 5 things are very simple. We can identify them. But you know what the problem is that we're not intentional about how we go about making it a priority. Okay. And so I've come up with simple ways of how to work towards and pursue this, financial peace is what I typically call it. But it's saving more, spending less, avoiding debt, setting goals, and pursuing excellence. And each of those 5 things we're intentional about. And so for that, someone who's just starting out in their 20s, saving more just means like putting money away before you spend. So it's instead of reverse, right? We always say I'm gonna save for retirement, or I'm gonna put money away, whatever is left over. Well, money is never left over, right? Because we always spend what we have, and sometimes we spend too much, right?
Right.
So what we do is we put money away. We started with 1 or 2%, so we don't feel it so much in our pocketbook. And we just do it religiously. And before you know it, and by the way, every year in January, you want to increase it by 1 or 2% until you reach the goal that you're seeking, or you're on your path to reach that goal. And so that's why number 4, having a goal is to define what that goal is super, super important. So we have a very simple, we can create goals within 2 minutes using, if you go to calderawealth.com, we have a resource where you can enter in your age, the amount of income that you are currently receiving. And as financial planners, we believe that you need about 80% of your current income. And so it'll default to that. And it'll also default to retirement at age 65. I would encourage everyone to change that to 67, because according to Social Security, full retirement age is age 67. And if you take it out prior to that, you can be penalized. If you take it out even more, at early age of 64, you can be significantly, penalized. But you're forced to take it out at age 70.
Yes.
So anyhow, I can go on and on and on, but I'll go ahead and uh, and take a pause there.
So I love that because everybody talks about you need to set goals, and talking about to a young person or to anyone to start at 1 or 2% and go up every year. That is something that people can swallow, right?
Right.
We kind of
Exactly.
understand that. It makes sense. It's very easy to tackle.
Yeah.
And I love that you have that free tool because some people will just kind of do their own math. I would say
Yeah.
their own math. And so, but math is very specific. So with your tool, if you really want to retire at a certain age, then you need to kind of have that tool. So that's a free tool that they can go right on your website. And things happen, stuff happens. We were talking about that. What if you get divorced or,
Yeah.
someone passes away? Things like this come around. Life happens,
Life happens.
and sometimes you have to pivot. So, with that, I love that. So, let's talk about, the pivot. Me and you were briefly talking before we walked in the door, and we were talking about financial infidelity for couples, and really that struck a chord for me. I think that more people will understand. So if you can just talk about the statistics and about financial infidelity, I think it will make a lot of people understand how important it is to come see you soon.
Yeah, it's amazing, especially on the psychology of financial planning. There are essentially 28 heuristics. Heuristics are basically experiences or biases that can facilitate problem solvings or probability of judgment. And so these are strategies that are generalized or rule of thumbs that kind of reduce our cognitive load that can affect our making decisions and our judgment as it relates to investments. And oftentimes they result in like this irrational or inaccurate conclusions. And so one of them is financial infidelity. So these are like lies or secrets or things that we hide from our spouses. And believe it or not, 76% are admit that they have financial infidelity. So I believe we're all designed to live a full, deep, and abundant life. And when we have these secrets, I think it sort of eats at the soul, if you will. And and what are the reasons why we do that? Is it to avoid pain? Like maybe, you don't want either to justify certain spending or you don't want to hear it from the other spouse because you just want peace and calm, in your household. And so there are so many strategies that really work to, again, not hide per se, but to have a strategy. And one of those strategies that I've implemented and that I share, especially, well, for all income earners, both high and low, is to pay yourself an allowance, which is part of spending less. That number two. So how we spend less is that we pay ourselves an allowance. I know it sounds, funny,
I love it. I'm all
right?
for allowances.
Yeah, but everybody, and so you kind of create this safeguard. There's no, well, there are rules in terms of what's a healthy allowance, but you determine what that is. And so I take a piece of my paycheck. Literally, it goes into a separate bank account tied to a debit card, or you can use a credit card. That supports that bank account. And so whatever is in that account for that period is the amount that you can pay. A good example, I had a client who was just really upset at his wife for all these little expenses, going to, the coffee store, right? And so he just kept on seeing all of these little expenses. And we just said, hey, how about this? How about we just take a certain dollar amount we put into this account? And oh, by the way, this person, she was actually buying a lot of little stuff, even for, the family, right? But this person, the spouse really just, he didn't like to see all of these expenses. And so we were able to fund this other account, and it brought peace to this relationship. And the fact is that she's not spending more than what what she's spending. It's just that he doesn't have to see it. So and oftentimes she was gifting money, to like pay for kids events and sporting events and that sort of thing. And so it just made things work for that particular family.
Well, I understand that, having three kids, that when there were birthday parties, so in my family, I have my daughter's birthday, July 3rd, my other daughter, July 8th. I have my sister, July 6th, my brother, July 10th, and my nephew, July 4th. So I always say it's Christmas in July. Plus, I would be paying some of my dues in July. So he would always say, how come July is just money going out the door? And I said, well, that's because everybody's birthday is there, and there are children. And so you're going to throw birthday parties. So obviously those budgets can change as your children and your family grow, right? But the thing is, you don't want to feel guilty. And it also, I think, would help both spouses to have that budget. So then you kind of reconsider, because anytime you have a budget, it helps you kind of reconsider. Like my dad always said, you have to have $100 bill with you at all times. And when you do that, when I was in college, I didn't want to break the $100 bill, because that means I would have to go get another $100 bill, right? And I did that for many years. I always had a $100 bill on me, right? So I wouldn't want to break it. So I love that. But yes, financial infidelity gives you peace of mind. And like you said, less secrets, more happiness, right?
I think that's just the way to live. Yeah.
Yes. So I know that you work with individuals and families, but you also work with businesses and nonprofits. You help them with their tax strategies. Can you go and talk about how you can help some of the small businesses and large businesses defer some of their taxes and everything like that?
Yeah, the U.S. government passed a bill. Well, it was within a bigger bill called the Secure Act, and they made some adjustments. They found some errors in the Secure Act, and they created Secure Act 2.0. And what this act does, it incentivizes businesses to offer a retirement plan to their employees. We in this country, we are not savers, we are spenders, and we do a pretty good job with that. But come retirement, they're falling short, and we have a lack of financial literacy in our country. And when you have a retirement program, you sort of get this financial piece of understanding about how to save more, spend less, avoid debt, set goals, pursue excellence. You get that message of how to do that in an effective way. And so Secure 2.0 gives businesses the ability to write off or get a tax credit for the expense of establishing a new plan. So much so that they'll give you up to $5,000 in year one, 5,000 in year two, 5,000 year three, up to your expenses, and that has helped businesses tremendously to get an affordable retirement program. There's also some other credits. I can talk all day about all these credits, but you definitely want to see a financial advisor who specializes in retirement plans to, number one, get access to this program. I represent the Las Vegas Chambers Association retirement plan for all their members. We're so proud of this amazing program that the Chamber fought so hard for, to get an affordable, efficient retirement program for all of their members. And so to join that program, it costs $400 to the employer. We can customize their plan design, And we offer what's called a 316 fiduciary service. So in other words, we're taking a lot of that fiduciary liability away from that employer so that they can just focus on what they do best, and that is running their company. And we also add what's called a 338 fiduciary on the investment side. And we're super proud about the investment lineup because you can, on your own, get access to these institutional share classes where the cost is dramatically lower and the performance seems to be in the top 20%. So we have an investment policy statement where we mandate to review and to make sure that all of our investments meet that investment policy statement. So yeah, I would love to share about how that program works. You can go to groupretire.com to learn a lot about that program and how it works. And we just believe that that everyone should have a retirement program for their employees.
So is there any specific requirements? Do they have to have so much income coming through or so many employees to offer this? Or is this something that, family business can do? How many people can benefit from this? Because it sounds like really great legislation. We hear a lot of bad stuff, but this is great news, which we all love to hear.
Yeah, to join the Vegas Chambers program, the only requirement is that you need to be a member of the Vegas Chamber. And so if you're a member of the Vegas Chamber and already a member, this is a benefit that you have in your back door. And there's no income requirement. If you have one employee, 1,000 employees, you qualify. So yeah, there's no income requirement. It is just that membership requirement. Now, the state of Nevada, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, passed a bill last year, Senate Bill 305, which does require all businesses to sponsor or to be part of a retirement plan. And if you don't have a plan in your company, basically the state of Nevada will have one for you. This goes into effect July of 2025. If you have been in business for if you've been in business for less than 3 years, you're exempt. And also, if you have less than 5 employees, currently you're also exempt. And if you have a retirement plan already, you're exempt from that mandate. So it is something that more businesses are going to, number one, learn the value and the benefit of having a way for your employees to defer a piece of their paycheck into a retirement savings plan. It doesn't mandate that you have to put money into a savings plan. You can certainly opt out as an employee if that's something that you've decided you don't want to participate. But the state definitely just wants you to have the ability to do so, to put money away.
Well, that just shows you that the legislation knows that we are not saving money and we are not ready for our retirement, and that we all need to meet with you and talk about our finances and understand that it's not that scary. I mean, you look like a nice guy. You are a nice guy, right, Joe?
I'm a nice guy. Yeah, if I didn't, yeah. It's as a planner, I have been so blessed and fortunate to work with so many families and businesses, and to pursue financial wellness. It is so super important. It's kind of like our health, right? We want to pursue good health. Well, we also believe that the pursuit of financial wellness is just part of living a life that's again full, deep, and abundant.
Well, I totally understand that. People always say healthy wife, healthy life. But I always believe that finances are one of the biggest stresses for businesses, for individuals. When you're worried about money, your mind kind of goes like you're not going to know what to do. You're grasping. And so you work with everyone. I mean, you feel that anybody that is making some type of income should be coming to you, right? No matter if they're thousandaires and not millionaires, you are you work with everybody, right?
I do. Yeah, we represent athletes, entertainers. We represent retirees, people that retired that don't have the ability to earn money. This is whatever they earn. This is it. So it's important. There's different strategies, which is very unique. You know, when you're accumulating money versus distributing money, you have to be very conscious about risk and about what are some of the strategies. But we're in 22 states across the country, and I don't market in those states. It just so happens that clients just refer businesses, which is how our firm has just grown. It's just word of mouth. We believe it's in our pins. Making life simple is our model. We believe health, wealth, and connection lead to that pursuit of wellness. And so it is super important that people have an advocate, someone that it is complex. There are so many parts, and every client has their own unique goals. One client might be, we want to protect it, against have asset protection, or we need lifetime income that is going to increase with inflation. Or we have clients, that need a retirement program, or, they're paying too much, or they don't have the right investments. And oftentimes they don't even know what they don't know. And they need someone to say, hey, listen, this is where I'm at. This is what I have. What are your thoughts? And they're blown away, which is my fun part, is like when we're able to kind of share, our recommendations. I always put myself in the client's seat, and knowing what I know with all of my credentials, what would I do if, given these particular goals and time horizons and risk tolerances, what would I do in this scenario? And the clients often have options. We have chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. Every strategy or every consideration might have a drawback per se. And but these are things that clients can help make an informed decision about their financial path. And so regardless of where you're at, you need a financial advocate. You need somebody that is going to be with you through all those ups and downs of life, whether it's divorce, whether it's a new child, or a child that has special needs, or you have that aging parent that just needs some advice, as well. Oftentimes, it just amazes me, like people like Prince, for instance, one of the greatest songwriters, performers of our day. And yet his assets had to go to probate, which could have been super avoidable, and less cost too. I mean, like you're talking like, maybe a stay at a hotel, for a few days. It's so important. And then I see, like some entertainers that get into financial trouble, and it's just part of life, and they need a financial advocate, to help represent.
You're absolutely right, because stuff happens. And here are folks that you're talking about that have money, that could have a financial planner at their fingertips. But just like some of us with our health, it's like, I hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. But when it comes to your financial health, you've got to have a plan, right? So Joe is your planner. Joe is your guy. So Joe, go ahead and let them know how they can contact you, and learn about not only their business, deferring their taxes, this new legislation, maybe even meet you at the local chamber so they can jump in on this new opportunity. I think it's fantastic. So I appreciate you taking your time. But right now, let's go ahead and get people to know how they can connect with you, Joe. And thanks in advance.
Yeah. So you can call our office, 702 616-2000. Again, 616-2000. You can go to our website at calderawealth.com, and you have access to my calendar. So if you would like to just schedule your appointment, you can go ahead and go online and do that. We would ask that you can schedule a brief 15-minute, 30-minute. Most of our new clients benefit by completing what's called our confidential profile. So it helps me understand where you're at and what are some of the goals. So my team, if you just call our office, request a confidential profile, we'll get that over to you. And there's different ways in how you can fill that out. But it makes our time together super efficient in helping what the next course might be. There's no fee for our consultation. There's really, once we understand sort of what your goals are and what your path looks like, we'll create what that looks like. Our financial planning fee started at $1,200, which is super low. You get so much value in that report. But any financial question you might have, we're here to serve, and we're just grateful to be able to do it in the way we have.
Well, thank you, Joe. You've been a great guest. I'm super excited. I'm going to fill out that form today and see if you can get me on the right track so I can make my father proud. And again, thanks again. And I will see you all next first Wednesday of the week. Thank you. Penny
Thank
Tindall
you for having me.
off.
So grateful.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.